Hello and welcome to the Telegraph studio. I'm Alistair Greener and today we're discussing the future of Britain's energy. And joining me is Matthew Knight from Siemens. We read a lot about the risks to our energy supply. How much time have we got to really resolve these problems?
Well, the next 15 years are really crucial to the UK's electricity supply. We need to make sure that electricity is available, it's affordable, but we also must decarbonise. And the target is that the UK's electricity system will be almost completely carbon-free by 2030.
You say 2030, but what happens if we miss that deadline?
Well, every tonne of carbon dioxide that goes up a chimney contributes to global warming. And if the countries of the world are going to avoid temperature rise exceeding 2 degrees, we have to make sure that we don't emit more than 1 trillion tonnes of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and we're already halfway there. So it's absolutely imperative that we do our part to reduce our carbon emissions.
Now that's a big challenge, so what do we have to do to have any chance of actually achieving it?
Well, simply it's a new industrial revolution. The last industrial revolution started in the UK and it was based on fire, burning coal to make things. The new sustainable world of the future has to be built on renewable energy, nuclear power, biomass, things like this that allow us to get the energy we need without destroying the planet.
So you mentioned a lot of different solutions there. Where does Siemens fit into all this? What are you bringing to the table?
Well, Siemens is involved right across the energy industry. We make all types of power generation and also a lot of the equipment that's involved in the grid that delivers it to your house. For example, we build the world's most efficient gas turbine generators, but we're also the UK's leading supplier of wind turbines.
Now, I know you're known for wind and seeing your badge there, but one of the innovations that's come up is SolarBox, and this is a project that recently won the Mayor of London's Low Carbon Entrepreneur of the Year award. And we're going to talk to the innovators in a moment, but first of all, I want to find out how you're involved. How's Siemens involved in that project?
Well, we wanted to get involved in this competition to encourage particularly young people, the entrepreneurs and the engineers of the future, to be part of helping us solve the problem, meet the challenge of decarbonising in a cost-effective way. And the prize has thrown up some brilliant ideas, SolarBox being one of them.
So we promised our audience a glimpse into the SolarBox. So now let's go on location. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now you've been geography students, yet you're becoming well known for an alternative energy solution. How are these two fields related?
So SolarBox was born out of our interest for the use of public space and London's growing green agenda. These are two things we explored at length during our degree. We did urban, economic and development geography, so a lot about the city, a lot about the way space is used, environmental economics. And so this wraps incredibly well with what SolarBox is all about. And then of course the mobile phone charging element was unrelated to our degree. It was about trying to solve a problem that young people have all the time.
And how many of these are actually in use today?
So this is still the only SolarBox we have. We spent the last year looking for investment. We were actually offered investment, but we have decided to keep this about what it means to us, which is the public space, the promoting renewable energy. If we pursued it as a full commercial venture, it would become an advertising business and we'd have to expand it enormously. Thus we have 4 more which we own. We've taken them over from BT, and we're going to crowdfund these and really make it about people who believe in the mission, believe in the project.
Okay, so show us how it works.
Absolutely, okay. So you're waiting for a friend outside the station, pop in for some free juice. Simply pop it in and we're good. iPhone 4, Blackberries, Samsung, they all work. Simple, it's all off the grid. And yeah, I'm going to tell you about the panel. It's a 150 watt panel, 86 centimetres. It's completely off the grid. All the solar energy leaks into a battery, which then allows us to charge for free. Simple as that.
Thanks very much indeed for joining us. So we got a glimpse there into the solar solutions, but I know that Siemens are very much involved in wind power. Why is that, and is that still a solution that we can use?
Yes, and it's very important to the future of the UK. every country needs to look at the resources that are available to it to compete in the future low carbon world. And we are very fortunate here that we are in the windy corner of Europe, and both onshore and offshore wind are going to be the backbone of the UK's electricity supply for many decades to come.
We know about the time pressures, we know about the environmental pressures, and we also know all the solutions. So why, despite all of that, are we still lagging behind?
It takes a long time to build an energy project, typically 10 years to develop, consent and then build, whether it's a wind farm, a nuclear power station or a gas-fired power station. And for people to take big investment decisions like that, we need to have long-term confidence that this country is going in a particular direction. So we need clarity from our politicians, and we need the support of the general public. And often there are a lot of myths around energy. Electricity is so reliable that people don't often think about it, and they hear half a story somewhere and have some misperceptions. For example, a recent piece of polling evidence we have is that people assumed that wind generation subsidies were costing them perhaps £250, £260 per year. In fact, last year provided 10% of all the electricity in the UK, and it cost the average household £18. So people dramatically overestimate what this transformation to a low carbon economy is already costing us and what it's going to cost us.
I'd like to pick up on two things there. First of all, you mentioned the government, and I'd like to know, how do we get them to be, more thoughtful about the future, to make a plan that's going to work? And also, what about the public's involvement? I mean, there's 65 million of us. Surely we have a role to play in this as well.
I'm fascinated by the energy industry. I work in the energy industry. I can't expect politicians or members of the public to have an equal level of fascination or knowledge. But what I think would benefit government would be to have good guidance, a good independent body, perhaps similar to the Office for Budget Responsibility, that advise government on what the long-term best energy policy was. And when we look to members of the public, the most efficient way to save carbon is to not use the energy in the first place. So all of us have a role to play in cutting down on our usage, thinking more about the way we use energy, investing in insulating our homes to then save money from energy in the future. And there are both government and private schemes to help people to do that. So there are things that everybody can do to support this transition to a low carbon economy.
Despite the challenges and the obstacles, you seem really positive about the future. Are you?
I am positive. I need to be positive, but I've got good reason to be positive. When you look at the climate science, it's pretty scary. We have to decarbonise. The alternative is unthinkable. But when we see young people like those that we've just met, when we look at the fact that the UK has two of the biggest wind farms in the world, we have some fantastic experts working on this problem here in our country. And for all those reasons, I'm confident that we will get this right in the end. And as a dad, my children are going to inherit the world that we leave them. They're also going to be part of contributing to making it right. So we have to do it for them.
Well, it's been a fascinating glimpse into the future of Britain's energy. Matthew Knight from Siemens, thank you very much indeed.